say that a part of me is very excited to talk about this live. I regret retiring early, but I have to give you the entire full context, right, for why I regret retiring early. So I'm gonna wait till some more people come in. Obviously, I'm just coming from the gym. The gym has been paying off. I've been making good progress, so I'm excited about that. But I'm really gonna talk to you guys about something today that's important. I regret retiring early. The reason I regret retiring early is because, as you'd imagine, life gets quite boring if you have nothing to do all day. So what am I doing all day? Making YouTube videos, trying to go viral, of course, but obviously going to the gym, eating food, and traveling to different countries around the world, meeting interesting people. But that gets boring, right? So I've been doing this for 2 years now, and I'll be honest. Like for example, there are tours to do in Suriname, and I don't really want to do any more tours per se because they're gonna go look at what mountains. They're gonna go look at more waterfalls. Um, they're gonna, what else are they gonna do? I mean, there's only so many things that you can look at in nature. And if I've been to the Amazon once, then I've seen the Amazon, right? Obviously, I haven't seen the entire thing, but unless you're into that kind of stuff, like if you're into biology or ecological stuff, then that makes sense to go do repeatedly. But I've seen the waterfalls, I've seen the trees, I've seen, unless it's like the biggest or the smallest or the widest or the deepest or the fastest something, it's not that exciting to go and see it again. You understand what I'm saying? So then there's only so many times that you can go and say, all right, I'm going to keep traveling and going to keep seeing new things because there's not that many one of a kind things to see in the world. Let me explain what I mean. It's like yes, it's slightly different, but like the Grand Canyon, right? There's nothing like that in the world, right? Um, Niagara Falls, Iguazu Falls. These are like one of a kind things. It's like there's one of that. It's that big. You have to go there to see it. There's nothing else like it. New York City. There's nothing else like New York City in the world. You have to go and see New York City for yourself. But once you go and see New York City once or twice, or maybe three times, it loses its appeal after a while. Because first of all, New York City smells, right? And the more that you see these one of a kind things, they lose their appeal. I'll give you another example. I went to Rio. Right, Rio, wonderful beach. Right, people are there. They're playing basketball. Not basketball. They're playing football on the beach. They're doing keep up, and there's parties. And I stayed there. I stayed in Rio. How long was I in Rio? I stayed in Rio for 10 days during Carnival, so it was fun. It was a party every single night. But after a while, it's like once you walk around 10 days straight and you're seeing everything and you meet the same people, it's like how long do you really want to do that? You know what I'm saying? It's not that fulfilling to just go and do parties every single day. I got to be honest with you. This is some of the reasons I regret retiring early. And I feel like my fulfillment now comes from like doing YouTube, right? Because I see the channel growth and I talk to interesting people. What's up, Jaylee? You see what I'm saying? I don't know where Jaylee's watching from right now, but you could be watching from anywhere across the world. This is actually more fulfilling than, just walking around in a new city and just like, taking pictures of random stuff. This is a lot more fulfilling. You see what I'm saying? And so, who's that? Mateus? How you doing, Mateus? Good to see you, my friend. Tell me where you're watching from, Mateus, because that name sounds European. Tell me where you're watching from. Mateus sounds European. Uh, Yeah, that's the only thing. I regret retiring early just a little bit. No, that doesn't mean I'm not doing anything. My plan is to grow the YouTube, obviously, and give more scholarships away. But then after, in maybe 6 years or so, maybe 4 years, what I actually want to do is that I want to start doing stand-up comedy. So then I retired. I'm traveling the world. I'm going to Africa next year. Africa is going to be so much fun. I'm going to go everywhere in Africa, just like I did everywhere in South America. But then after Africa, I'm going to Asia and then Europe. And then I'm going to start my comedy career. Here's the thing. That is much more exciting to me. I'm so looking forward to stand-up comedy that even right now I watch comedy and I take notes and I have plans for what I want to do and what I want to talk about. And even I've started writing some jokes down. But my point to you is that doing nothing is not exciting. Retiring early, yes, having financial freedom, that's great. So, like financial independence, retire early, that's the FIRE movement, FIRE, financially independent, retire early. But retiring early, tough. It's not as great as people think because then you don't have motivation. Like I was so much more motivated to work when I had to. But now it's like I struggle to keep a routine sometimes. And, that's the part of financial freedom that people don't talk about, retiring early. You know what I'm saying? But let me know your thoughts on this because honestly, I like thinking through this kind of thing with you guys because I'm sharing and I'm being honest as someone who is retired. I'm not sure how long you've been following this channel, but as I said, I've been going live every day since February, and I come out here. I talk about all type of stuff. We talk about recently. I'm not sure if you guys saw this, but right now, Sean Diddy Combs is on trial, and I talked about Shannon Sharp last week. But everything that's happening in the world, I come on here and I talk about it, give my 2 cents, and we have a community here that's growing, and I have people that come in every now and then and they tune in. Right now, it's 2 p.m. where I am, but I say all this to say that this and being here with you guys is actually one of the highlights of my day. I look forward to it. I finish the gym. I come here. I hop in the pool. Let me show you. That's the pool right there. I hop in the pool. Um, and then I go live. You see what I'm saying? It's a highlight of my day to go and do that and do this with you guys. But let me know where you're watching from so that I can actually let me know who's here. I like to get to know who's here because you guys often have interesting places where you guys are from. You guys watch from all over the world. It's actually pretty cool. It's one of the things I love about YouTube. But you know what's funny, man? I started wanting to be independent, like retire early, financial independence, retire early, when I was maybe like 14, 15 years old. This is when I first heard about retiring early, when I was 15. And at 15, the only thing I knew was that I needed to earn a lot of money and I needed to make money in my sleep. So I knew I couldn't do a job. So then I didn't want a job because then I would have to work that job for the next 5 years, right? Or 10 years or 25 years, however long people stay in jobs. And I also knew that I needed to start a business and invest a lot of money. So then that's what I started doing. I started investing and starting businesses from I was 15 years old. The only thing I wanted to do was retire before 30. I had 15 years to do it. That's what I decided at 30. At 15, I decided I would retire by 30. At 15 years. So then now I'm sitting there thinking, all right, I'm strategizing, I'm reading, I'm learning. This is me at 15, 16 years old. So then, having actually done it, took me about 8 years, right? I financially retired when I was maybe 23, right? Almost 23, 22. I was like, oh, I don't need to work anymore. I'm done. I'm out the game. Then I officially announced it when I was 24 that I was done, right? And then that went viral on social media. That was awesome. Being able to retire at 24, it's awesome, right? And so now, what do I do every day? What do I do every day? If you don't need to work, what do you work on? You work on providing scholarships. You work on doing more for people, more for the world. That's what gets me out of bed in the morning. I'll tell you another reason. This is a part that people don't talk about enough. Something that people don't talk about enough is once you start getting your finances in order, people start to hate you. And unless you're ready for that, unless someone talks to you about it, you don't really understand what's going on until it's happening. And this may be happening to you, or maybe not yet, or maybe you've dealt with this before. But let's be real for a second. People don't like to see you win more than they are winning. I'll talk about it. People like to see you do well. People like to root for you. Everybody roots for the underdog. But the moment the underdog wins and becomes the champion, a certain percentage of those people no longer want the underdog, who is now champion, to continue to be the champion. Because what does the champion do? The champion is now going to say, I'm the best, I'm the champion. And now they're going to have to defend why they are the champion. So they have to talk differently. They're no longer saying, what happened to my belly button? That's a very weird thing to point out. Now they're not the champion. Focus on what I'm saying, bro. Don't get distracted. No, it's not a piercing, bro. Focus on what I'm saying. Don't get distracted. Once you're the champion has to now say, I am defending my championship. I deserve to be here. I'm a winner. That makes them no longer the underdog. So everybody that was rooting for them just because they were the underdog no longer has that motive. So now you're hating on the underdog because they're now a winner. So then when I had nothing, oh man, there was so much support. So much support. Everybody like, what do you need? Hey, I'll help you. And I tried to hide it as long as possible that I didn't need help. But in the moment that you come out and say, hey, I'm retired early, no people don't want to see you win. No people don't want to support you anymore. And that's not easy. If you see people make that switch in less than 1 year, some people made that switch for me in less than 3 months. They went from, I will help you to, nah, you're the big man. You don't need my help. You don't need my attention. You see what I'm saying? Same people, same person, but they changed. Yeah, sure, you can give me advice. That doesn't mean I'm going to take your advice, but you can say what you're saying. I won't stop you from talking because everybody has an opinion, but that doesn't mean I need to take your advice. I will tell you, don't load grinder. That's great. You guys are funny. Um, Penguin, I don't know who you are, but let me give you some advice. Um, you when you see someone talking about something that they're good at, the best thing that you can do is ask them questions and be forever a student. I'm someone, if I see, for example, I just came from the gym and there was someone in the gym that was bigger than me. So then what did I do? I'm watching what he's doing. I'm studying. Why? So I was looking at him and he went from set to set. Instead of taking a break for 2 minutes, he was doing like he would do push. So then he would do like bench press and then he'd go and do curls. So he'd do bench press, curls, bench press, curls. So he's working his triceps and his chest and then he works his biceps back and forth instead of taking a break. And I saw him do it and I asked him why. And then he said, obviously, it's because of that. The reason I'm telling you that is because instead of talking, your best bet is to stay forever a student. And I'm not small, right? I have a decent body, but I'm still a student. Your best bet is to stay a student. And the less that you talk and the more that you ask questions, the more that you learn and the faster you'll progress in your life. There's so many people who have the life that you want. And if you'd ask them more questions than talking, you get more results. But let me say, will look better. So you have entire chest trim, but have some inner chest, and that will look good to be honest. I love my chest the way it is, but I appreciate you. What are they talking about? So let's get back to the topic at hand. Another thing that happens when you retire early, another thing that happens when you retire early is that now you become the person in your family that people look up to. This may be like a whiplash for some people. Think about this. Before, you would be able to ask your aunt for money, right? Or say, yo, you know, mom or brother, yo, could you help me with this bill? Could you help me with this? Could you help me with that? Yo, I need your help, right? Let me read that comment in a second, right? Randomly finding my life, that's the best way that we meet each other. That means it's fate, right? So then just keep picture this. You used to be able to ask your family members for help. Yo, I'm behind on this. I need some money for that. You used to be able to do that. No, once you become that person in your family, you can't ask anybody for money. Think about this. You can't ask anybody in your family for money because you're the one that retired early. You're the one with the plan. You say that you retire early. Oh, so then that's good. We don't need to worry about you anymore. and you paint a target on your back because you become the person that if you ever ask somebody for money, what happens? It means you don't got your shit together. But here's what happens in reverse. Everybody can ask you for money and for advice. Do you understand what I'm saying? Everybody now comes to you. So let me tell you what happens. Everybody spends their money in Christmas buying Christmas gifts, right? They buy Valentine's Day gifts, they buy birthday presents. Everybody spends their money in December, and then what happens in January? Everybody comes to you for help. Hey, bro, I overspent in Christmas. Do you think you could loan me $500? Hey, bro, do you think you could do this for me? I need some help. You see what I'm saying? No, you become the anchor for everybody in your family. You become that person. So then, once you become that anchor, what happens? Now that becomes a lonely path. Many people aren't prepared for that. You see what I'm saying? So once you become that anchor for everybody else, you have to be prepared to wear that crown. There's a saying, heavy is the head that wears the crown, and that's what you are. You set yourself up as the anchor. How many people are prepared for that? Today I got into a fight with my girlfriend was there, into a fight, and my girlfriend was there. And then I straight up just put him in the hospital. All right, first of all, let me say, as much as you can, let me say this to you. As someone who can fight, right? I box, whatever. I have only ever been in maybe three fights in my life on the street. The reason why, three street fights. The reason why, there's a saying in most martial arts that when you start fighting, and this is some wisdom that you need to remember, if you start a fight, you are going to lose. If you engage in a fight, you are going to lose. Why? Because either you send somebody to the hospital, in which case you get charged with a crime and you go to jail, or you die. Unless you are prepared for either outcome, do not engage in a street fight. So I don't fight. I'll do everything in my power possible to avoid a fight. If a guy is bigger than me, I'm backing up. I'm the person that's going to back up. I'm backing up. I'm like, listen, I don't want to fight. I'm skipping backwards. That's me. Hey, bro, you know you got it. You don't. I don't want to fight nobody because it's either I go to jail or I die. Neither are good outcomes for me. So I don't fight. And if you remember that, you're going to keep yourself out of trouble. I can fight. And if I need to defend somebody, if it comes down to that, that's why you train. But besides that, you never ever engage in a street fight. And you also don't know what the person is capable of. Again, you can die. When you ask your family for money, be straight up. Don't just give you money. When you have money again, they're just nice to eat again. Hell no, man. So, and I'm turning 21 this year. I'm still unemployed. All right, let me just Aiden first, and then Penguin, I'll get back to you. I'll have something for you. Aiden, when you here's a rule that I have for a family asking me for money that you might actually want to adapt for yourself. One, everybody's allowed to ask me for money once. Here's my rule. I'm not going to loan you this money. I'm going to give it to you. But here's the rule. After I give this money to you, never ask me for money again. That's it. I'm going to give you whatever you ask me for, I'm going to give it to you. $2,000, no problem. But here's the $2,000. With it, you don't get to ask me for money again. That's one. That's one rule. You can go that rule, which means that if that's the rule, then you put that person in a category, right? That may be like distant family or your cousins, etc. Some people that you don't necessarily have a, a normal or a frequent interaction with. You don't see them often. You can do that for those people. Okay. The second rule I have is I don't loan money to anybody, but if I have it to give and it's a part of my budget, so I do have a giving budget, I will give it to you, but not as a loan because I don't want to chase you for money and I don't want it to reflect your relationship. The borrower is slave to the lender, and I'm the lender. I don't want them to be my slave. So then, if it's my aunt, I'm giving her money. I'm not loaning her. If it's my sister, I'm giving money, I'm not loaning. You understand what I'm saying? So then that's two different categories. People who are close and people who are not so close but in your family. Friends can go in this category. Distant family can go in this in category. But your close family, right? Your mom, your dad, whoever else you want to put here, your siblings, give them money, don't loan them. And everybody else is just a no. Okay. And you can do charity, you can do charity work, obviously give generously, be generous, impact the world. But separate from those two categories, that's how I approach giving. So if that helps you, there you go. The best way to fight is to simply avoid it. Exactly. Let me tell you something. I was prepared to lawyer up. So yeah, yeah. Years ago, man. I appreciate you. I appreciate you, Aiden. Penguin, back to you. Um, you're 21 right now. This is the best time. I will say this to you with as much love as I have for you. And many people are not going to be real with you, but I'm going to give you some very real advice that is going to suck, but it's going to make your life tremendously better if you hear me, because I'm going to talk to you as if you're my brother, and you can take my advice however you want it to. But I'm talking to you specifically. Okay? You are 21. You have nothing to lose. Nothing. That makes you more powerful than me. If you are at rock bottom, you should be thrilled that you are at rock bottom, because it means that anything that you try is better than where you are right now. At 21, it means that you can retire by 30, because that's 9 years. I did it in 8. Here is how you do that. As a man, you need money. So, to have money in today's world is not about being fit, it's about using your mind, which means that you need to read. I don't care if you like to read. I do not care. The information that you are seeking is in books. The reason why I recommend books first is because it's not necessarily about the information that you're going to read. It's about what it's like going to the gym for the body. As you are reading, your mind starts to work over time and start to put things together that you would not have done otherwise. You understand? Don't get distracted. I don't know who that is, but talking about the chain, don't get distracted. Just lock in for me for a second, okay? As you are reading, your mind starts to expand in what it can do. So it's not about the words on the page. It's about training your mind to think, and it's like unlocking the chains of your brain. That's what it is. Okay. So, for example, you go to the gym and you do this, but in real life, you're not doing this. In real life, you're lifting tables. In real life, right? You are, lifting your partner up off the bed, right? In real life, you don't do that in the gym, but you're training for something else. Stay with me. Okay. So you need to read first. I'll give you some books in a second. The next thing is that you must act on what you're reading. There are a couple of things that you have to understand. Men who have money in this world are into three things. They're either into investing, business, or real estate. Anywhere in the world, that's who the richest men, that's who they are. They're investors, they're real estate owners, or they have businesses. That's it. Anywhere in the world. Okay? So then, if you're doing that, you can start right now developing any one of those. If you pick one, it is going to take you 5 years to get good at it, which means that the first 2 months is you researching every day to pick the thing that will be the best vehicle to get you to retirement by 30. You have 9 years, which means that you're spending 2, 3 months just reading, learning, taking notes to find the best vehicle that can take you there by the time that you're 30. You are not going to retire next year. You're not going to get rich in 2 years for that. But in 5 years, you can make a lot of money. By the time that you are 30, if you are 21 right now, you can be retired by the time that you are 30. If you listen to what I'm saying and lock in. Notice, I'm not telling you to go and try real estate. I'm not telling you to go and start an Amazon store. I'm not telling you to go and do YouTube. I'm giving you practical advice as to what can work for you. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not telling you that this is how you need to work. I'm telling you, for you, for example, I know that real estate works for me because of my personality. Stock trading might work for you because you might be more introverted and better at math. Somebody else, it might work better for them to do public speaking because they're more extroverted. Whatever that vehicle is, you need to have a clearly defined path and a plan that you develop. I'm going to do this by year two, this by year four, this by year six, this by year seven, this by year nine. And you can get there by the time that you're 30. Do you understand what I'm saying? But it is not easy. When I started my journey, I had no friends, none, because I didn't watch TV. I had a job from 8 until 4, took a break from 6 until 10. That was side hustle mode. You said that you're depending on your parents. I want to put something to you. If you want to use that excuse until you're 70 years old, then go ahead. Think about this. Your 70-year-old self is going to look at your 21-year-old self and say, oh, you know what? It's okay. Yeah, he was dependent on his parents. It's not his fault. How does that sound to you? Oh, it's not his fault. Remember, he's dependent on his parents. Yeah, fine, sure. I hear you. I agree. Now what? You see what I mean? Does that make you feel better? I don't think so. Yeah, you can be broke. You can be scared. You can be not very extroverted. You can be not very smart. You can not know how to read. Doesn't matter. You still have to have a plan. And if getting, less dependent on your parents is a part of your plan, then put that in your plan. But you need to have a solid plan. And a lot of research goes into making a solid plan. But right now, you don't have enough information to make a good plan, which is why you need to read. I read a book every week, which means that I was reading for an hour or two every day. And I still do that. The book I just finished, or no, I'm reading right now, is Economic Facts and Fallacies. Okay, so then here, I'll give you 10 books that can actually change your life for business. Are you ready? Hopefully, you're writing this down so you're not just listening for entertainment. Because if you're listening for entertainment and you don't change your behavior, then none of this is going to work for you. So I'll give you 10 books real quick, bro. The first one is Think and Grow Rich. Think and Grow Rich. It will show you how to change your mind to be one that thinks in abundance. It's free. All of the books I'm telling you, you can find them online for free. So I'm not selling you anything. Think and Grow Rich. And I am an author, by the way. But you don't need to buy my book. Listen to these books I'm about to tell you. Think and Grow Rich. The next one is How to Win Friends and Influence People. That will show you how to deal with people because you need to know how to motivate people because that's a very important part of any business. The next one, Rich Dad Poor Dad. It will show you how to think about assets. Assets are very important. The next one, 4 Hour Work Week. It will show you how to automate your business. Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. That one will show you how to care less about what people think. Entrepreneurial Myth. That will again show you how to automate your business in a more tactical manner. The Simple Path to Wealth. It's a very good book. Will show you how passive income actually works. The next one, Ego is the Enemy. Like the subtle art of not giving a fuck, you need to care less about what people think. And ego stops a lot of people from actually making progress. For example, I will come on and make a fool of myself and fail publicly because I have a lot less ego than most people do. Ego is the enemy. It keeps a lot of people broke. The next one. I only have two more, so let me choose these last two carefully. Um, 10x, the 10x rule. Very good book. The 10x rule will show you that you need to be thinking. Actually, I'll give you a bonus. I still have two more. The 10x rule will show you that you need to think bigger. You need to think 10x for whatever you are planning for, because it is possible to achieve 10x of whatever you're planning for. The next one, so this is number 10. Number 10 is sell or be sold. Sell or be sold. You need to learn to sell. Everything in life is selling. And the last one is 21 irrefutable laws of leadership. You need to be a leader. People is the name of the game. And if you can't influence people, if you can't help people to strive for their best, then how do you expect to make any change in the world? 21 irrefutable laws of leadership. These 10 plus one bonus, 11 books, if you wrote them down, read them. You can spend the next 10 weeks or 11 weeks, sorry, that's what, 3 months. Spend the next 3 months reading through these books. They're all free. Good luck. I gave you those books because I wanted to be very practical. So I'm talking to Penguin still, right? Penguin, you see, this is why I love talking to you guys. Penguin, do you know where I was born? Penguin, where was I born? These are the excuses that people come with. You have to. No, I was not born in the USA. I was born in Jamaica. I started businesses in Jamaica, and then I started business in the US. And now I have an international business. And I employ people from all across the world. And I have assets in all across the world. You're making excuses because you don't have enough information. And the books I just gave you will help you to solve the information deficit. I'm 26. The information I'm giving you will help you to solve the information deficit that you have. You think that it's not possible where you are because you don't understand what's possible in today. You have a phone in front of you. So then you're saying that you're born in Jamaica, you're born in a third world country, okay? That would have been an excuse 50 years ago if you didn't have the internet. I'm reaching you from Suriname. I'm not next to you. If I were good at what I'm doing and I have a product to sell you, I would go live every day and sell on YouTube. And in an essence, I guess I'm selling you on ideas and I'm selling you on my personal brand and I'm selling you on my personality. But if you wanted to, you could go live on TikTok and go sell products. Go live on whatnot and go sell products. You have a phone, you're watching this and you're using it for entertainment. Use it to make money. Start an Instagram page that's faceless and then charge people for promotion. And you can target anywhere in the world. You can start let me give you a play. You can start an Instagram faceless page right now, covering news for Hispanic people, for Black people, for Italians, for boss babes of Atlanta, boss babes of Chicago, and you can do this, right? Atlanta culture. You can start Facebook groups, etc., etc. And if you have any of these, I can't, I can't. I know myself. I would stutter. Again, another excuse. You see how many? All right, chat. Do you see how many excuses he's coming up with? And every excuse he comes up with, I have yet another example of a reason of how you can get over that. You can start a faceless brand, which means that it's not you talking. You're posting news and you're showing media, posting memes on Instagram, on Pinterest. Again, you're making so many excuses for yourself. And again, if you're talking about stuttering, do you think I want you to go back and look at the first lives that I did? I didn't know what to talk about. My lives were like 10 minutes. No, we've been live for 30 minutes and I haven't stuttered once because I get better. How do you get better? You have to practice. My first lives suck. They sucked. And even now, my lives aren't perfect, but I'm still going live. My friend, everything that you are going to say to me, you need to write them down and then come up with in your plan of how you are going to attack those things. This is what I'm trying to help you to understand. You are 21 now. By the time that you are 30, your plan can come to fruition if you give yourself enough grace to actually do it. Do you understand what I'm saying? I feel like I'm more passionate about this than you are because I really am. I really am passionate about helping people to change the way that they're approaching their life. Because everything that you're giving me right now, you're born in a third world country, so was I. You didn't know how to speak properly, so did I. I learned how to speak. The way I learned to speak, my friend, is that I had a friend of mine. This is what we would do. Instead of playing video games, we would do speeches, 5 minute speeches. This is how we spent our Friday. We both knew that we wanted to be better speakers. This is us talking. And then so we set a challenge for ourselves. Every Friday, we're going to do a new speech. The same speech, we're going to give it 3 times. So then what we did is that we'd give the speech, you'd write down what your critique was of me. You'd give your speech, I'd write down what my critique was of you. Same speech. We talk about body language, we talk about tone, pacing, everything. We give the notes after the first round. Then we'd take 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and we do it again with the notes included. Same speech. This is us every Friday. Second round, we do the same thing. Notes, exchange notes, third round. By the time the third round, we'd write down everything together and we'd have notes to review for the next week so that when we were doing the speech the next week, it would be better than the week before. And this is how we became better speakers. And we didn't do it in a hoodie. We both had to dress up in a suit or at least a button down shirt to give the speech. And we picked the topic the week before. We talk about tech, we talk about wars, we talk about politics, we talk about relationships, we talk about something interesting happening at college, talk about a debate. My point to you is that we became better speakers because we decided to, and that was a part of our plan. Right now, I'm betting you don't have a plan on how you can become a better speaker. And if you have no plan, then it will not happen. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? When I really have few to no friends, and the guys I have around me make a joke of me, I ask them to do this. Chat, what did he just do? I want someone to put in the chat, what did he just do? And then I want someone else to put in the chat, what do you think I'm about to do in response to what he just said? Somebody talk to me. What did he just do? And what am I about to do in response to what he just put in the chat? That's another excuse. And what do you think I'm going to do? I'm going to explain to you exactly how to come over that. Okay? But for you, it was, I don't know what WE means, but I'm going to guess it was easy. But I really have few to no friends. All right, let me explain again. I'll say it for the second time. When I started, I had no friends. When I started, I had no friends. Do you know who were my friends? My friends were books. My mentors were books because I spent so much time thinking through and listening to the podcasts of people who are successful. So then everything I did, so then let's say, for example, I went into a room, now I would be thinking, how would Grant Cardone approach this? Because I read his book pretty much all week. Now I'm thinking, how would John C. Maxwell approach this leadership problem? Hmm. How would Dean Graziosi or how would et cetera, et cetera? Because I'm thinking like these mentors were, because that's who I was thinking about all day long. That's what books did for me. Because I'm thinking about them. That's the first thing. So then now, my books and the authors of those books became my friends. Those were my mentors and my friends. Second, you don't need to have, you know, people that you knew from birth to be able to do this with. There are people in your community that are just as motivated as you. But I'm going to guess that you haven't found them because you're not going to where they're hanging out. Where do you go and find these people? Go to clubs where people are as motivated as you. Go to the library, make a friend. You just need one person. Hey, go to a Toastmasters, go to a public speaking seminar. Google public speaking seminars near me. There's an Eventbrite app. Go to every free event that is about public speaking. This is the plan. How do I find a solution to the problem I'm raising? Go and find these events. Then you find one person and say, hey, is it possible for us to meet every week for coffee to do this plan? Maybe if you ask 10 people, eight of them will say no. Two of them might say yes. There, I've just solved the problem. Also, if you don't have friends, and this is a very real thing, if you don't have friends who you would have if you were 10 years from now at 30, retired and successful, if they're not going to be there when you are at 30, I'm telling you right now, they don't deserve to be around you right now. You can make new friends. I had to learn that lesson the hard way because what's going to happen is that you are going to retire by 30 and they won't. What does that do for you? What does that do for you? If they're going to come with you, fine. If they're going to go on this journey with you, fine. If they're going to retire with you, fine. Right? But if you are the only one that's retired and you are the only one with money, what is that going to do for your friendship? You have to think about this. It's either they are going to come with you or they're doing their own thing or they're just as ambitious or they're in a different sphere or there has to be some compatibility. But if all they're doing every day is playing video games and wasting their life away, then you might as well figure out a way to find a new circle right now. Because if you don't, what's going to end up happening is that you're not going to pull them up. They're going to pull you down. I'm going to be very real. The chances of you changing them, very low. The chances of them demotivating you, very high. Why? Because negativity spreads faster than positivity. Just look at the news. Negativity spreads a lot faster. Low performers in an office will, for anyone that's within 15 feet of low performers, will decrease their productivity by 15%. Okay? But high performers, anybody that's right next to them, increases productivity by 10%, which means that negative or low performing people around you have a higher impact on your life than high performing people, which means that you need to even be more selective of the people that are around you. Because the people that are around you, if they are negative, will make you negative. You become a sum of the people that you spend, the five people that you spend the most time around. For me, when I had no friends, the five people that I spent the most time around, guess who they were? The authors of the books I was reading, because I was reading literally all day. I didn't watch TV. So then the influence in my mind was the authors of these books. They were millionaires. The millionaires who never met me, didn't know I existed, those were my friends and my influences. So then who is going to be your influence? You get to decide that. You're an adult. You're 21. You're old enough to decide what it is that you want to do. Log out the TV, put it in somebody's room, give it to somebody else, sell your TV, sell your video game. Because if you want and you believe that you can actually do it by the time you're 30, then that's kind of the sacrifice that you need to make. Aiden, I appreciate you. I appreciate you. You are my favorite YouTuber because I subscribe to you. But come on, bro. You're the goat of the century. I appreciate you very much, Aiden. I appreciate the love. Humbly, I try to come on and be as real as possible because I know when I started, as I said, my mentors were books. And so to have someone come on and do it live and get your questions answered and actually talk to you and address your situation even personally, I think is a really cool thing. So I try to do that. And also, you guys know what we're doing here. Provide two scholarships every year to kids in Jamaica. And so right now, I'm trying to grow this YouTube so that we can actually increase that number to four. And that's what we're going to use the money for. Right now, YouTube doesn't make any money. So I'm doing this for free. But if it does start making money, that's where the money will go. Boom. If I have negative people around me, then it would be better to minimize the interaction, right? Because in that way, it would not be negative. Yes. Um, I'll give you a prime example. I'll talk about this. This is going to be a little bit more personal. Okay. Um, my father, when I was 15, 16, 17 years old, was one of the most negative people in my life. But I lived in his house. You might be going through this, which is why I'm going to tell this story. I'm going to mark this so I can actually create this into a clip after. So I'll tell the story. My father was one of the most negative people. I remember, for example, constantly telling him, so I was raised Christian. So I'll tell you what I would normally say in that Christian context. Okay. So he would constantly worry about what was going on with finances, what was going on next month, what was going on in the world. And he would say, damn, everything is going to shit. I'm saying, I'm so worried about this. Everything is just so bad. Nothing ever works out for me. This is how he would talk to me while I'm trying to retire in 15 years. Just imagine how much of a conflict that was for me. Okay. And I would say to him, you're constantly worrying, but you also pray. How offensive is that to God that you're asking him? You believe that God created everything and you're asking him just to pay your bills, but then you're also worried that he won't? That's offensive, don't you think? How can you say that you have faith if you're also worrying about the outcome of that faith? That's not faith. So then I would say to him, worrying doesn't make sense. You're constantly worried. That doesn't make sense. Stop worrying. Okay. All right. But I'm just giving you the context for how that would work. How did I deal with someone who was constantly worrying? Because that didn't change instantly. So then he was constantly worrying, constantly negative. How would I deal with that? One, I limited my interactions at home. So I went to school, obviously, at 8 o'clock in the morning. Sometimes I wouldn't come home until 9 o'clock at night. Where would I be? I would be hanging out with people at the music department at school. I would hang out with my music mentor at the time. I would hang out at school in the library. I would go to church by myself and listen to audiobooks or read. I'd hang out with my godmother. Her name was, well, I won't tell her name, but I would go out and hang out with my godmother. Instead, I'd talk to her about what's going on, and then I'd go in a room by myself in AC and I'd get to work. I'd read, I'd strategize, I'd plan. But I limited my interaction by spending less time at home. But I was busy, I was being productive. I didn't go out and hang out with friends. I didn't go out and hang out at the park or skate. No, I would be out being productive, but I would limit my time at home because I didn't want the negativity to rub off on me. You know what I'm saying? Now, as I'm going out and being productive, what do you think ended up happening? I started actually making progress on my goals. And as I made more progress, the gap between his negativity and my progress and my positivity made our relationship butt heads quite often, which means that now the divide between us got even worse. And that will happen, and that's okay. Because what ended up happening is that eventually I moved out to college and I knew that that would happen. And as soon as I got to college, I kept working on my plan. So then, part of my plan was to leave because I wanted to be in a different environment. And as soon as I got to that different environment, things changed. The reason I'm telling that to you is because a part of your plan could be changing your environment, but you still need to include that in your plan. That was my story. As I said, I wanted to clip that. So I wanted to tell the story, right? So that I can share this after so that somebody else can benefit. But Penguin, do you get what I'm saying? Hopefully you got my story because that was very real. That happened to me. Uh, now, my dad and I, we're fine. Right? We're cool now. But at that time, part of my plan was getting away from my dad. And so that you might be going through that. A part of my plan was reading every day, starting businesses, and getting away from my dad. That's very real. But I had to go through that because that was a part of my journey and my plan. Part of your journey might be getting away from your friend, getting away from your girlfriend, getting away from your hometown, getting away from your country. That's fine. But at least include it in the plan. You get what I'm saying? I'm gonna assume that you're still there, but you're typing, which is fine. Because I know we talked about a lot, but I'm hopefully that what I'm saying is registering with you or resonating with you is the right word. Okay, I saw Penguin type yes. Cool. That's fantastic. I'm glad. I'm glad, dude. I'm glad. What was the original title of this live? Do you have the title? What's the title? Oh, I regret retiring early. That was the That's funny. That was the original title of this. I regret retiring early. Um, the separate from the bad parts of retiring early, there's a couple of things that make retiring early worth it. One, I'm not so much retiring early, but I will actually tell you the story of a young man who retired by the age of 42. And you probably know him, but I'll tell you the name of him at the end. It's another story. You're gonna love this story. So there was a young man that, for one, he was incredibly smart. I would ask you as being, how close do you think you are about retiring? I am retired. I don't understand your question. But let me tell this story and then I'll answer your question at the end. Okay. There's a young man who was incredibly smart. He was so smart, in fact, that, and this is a real story because I've studied this person. And again, you know this person. So I'm going to tell you who it is at the end. Okay, cool. You're going to love it. There's a young man, he was very smart, but the problem is, and this is why I recommend that people read How to Win Friends and Influence People, because this young man was very smart, but he was an asshole. People hated him because he'd make people feel stupid. He would say what he thought, but but he wouldn't give people a chance to rebut, and he'd make people feel as little as possible because he was so smart and he would just make people feel foolish. That's not good. Never do that. But this young man, he actually was so brilliant. He went on to start a printing company when he was in his 20s. He went on to own real estate. He owned multifamilies. He owned hotels. He was so good. He actually started lending money to other real estate investors because he had excess. He was an author in his 30s, multiple printing deals, and he had distribution across all of Europe and the US. Very cool. This dude was next level. He actually was so smart that he produced encyclopedias. I'm not sure if you know what this is, but almanacs were like information, but like with pictures and a little bit more stories, but they were like encyclopedias. But they were for very smart people. Very smart people wrote them to educate other people. Okay. It was based on heavy in research. So eventually, this guy wrote his letter, his mom, a letter. He wrote this letter in 1748. 1748, was it 1748? 1748. And he wrote this letter. He said, I have enough money, I have enough profits. I don't know what to do anymore. I think this is enough. And he wrote this at 42 years old. He's about to retire. He's done. He has money coming in from deals, he's lending money. He has multiple streams of income, one of the OGs of retiring early. Think about this. This is before it was cool. This is before the internet. And then he retired at 42. You know who that person was? That was Benjamin Franklin, the person on the $100 bill. He retired at 42 years old. And then he went on to be one of the founding fathers of America. Benjamin Franklin. Now, the reason I like telling that story is because that's one of the beautiful things about retiring early. When you retire early, you don't need money. So you can actually do more impactful things. Now, imagine if Benjamin Franklin just stopped when he became financially free at 42. He would not have been on the $100 bill. Yes, he was smart. Yes, he founded a printer. Yes, he owned property. Yes, he did all these things. But that's not what made him Benjamin Franklin. He had time and energy at 42 to actually do something that was meaningful to the world. And that's why we know him today. So think about that. That's one of the benefits of financially free retiring early. So then the good part of me retiring early is that I can go on YouTube at 2:49 in the afternoon and make an impact to somebody at halfway across the world. And I don't need your money. I can do this for free. That's the upside of retiring early. If you want to be that Benjamin Franklin, get to retirement as quickly as possible, so that you can actually, they can actually try to change the world. I think that's pretty cool. I like that story. Retired at 26. I am definitely retired at 26. Bro, trying to be a teacher. No limits. Maybe I am. I was actually a teacher at university. So yeah, I was a teacher at university for 2 years. And I've been a teacher, a music teacher for a lot longer than that. I started teaching actually when I was 17 years old, 16. Started teaching at 16 years old. So yeah, I taught some of the smartest people. And I also don't let the entrepreneur fool you. I have a master's. I'm actually quite a smart guy. I have 2 degrees. I have 3 degrees. Economics, digital communications, and music performing arts. I used to be a professional cellist. Bet you didn't know that. Ah, fun fact. I used to perform for everybody. I used to perform on stages. I would perform jazz. I would perform classical music. I perform reggae music. I perform pop. I was actually quite good. On their visit to Jamaica, royalty, Princess Anne, I performed for Princess Anne. That Princess Anne from the UK, I performed for her. I performed for governors. I performed for prime ministers. I performed for presidents. I mean, I was actually quite good. I would be in a tux. I'm shirtless now by the pool, but I'd be in a tux, and that's where I would be performing. I'd have a bow tie. I'd do my thing. But unless you ever mastered a skill, right? My plan, that was a part of my plan, right? You have to master a skill. So then I mastered cello. I was a straight A student, so I mastered school, and now I'm retired, so I've mastered real estate, or I haven't mastered real estate per se, but I've mastered financial independence. So it takes time to do every one of these things. And then the next thing I think I'm going to master in my life will be to master stand-up comedy. And that will start when I'm 30. And I'm so looking forward to starting stand-up comedy. Like anything in life, you don't start out being a master. You start out absolutely terrible. So in my first 5 years, forgive me, I will be terrible. I'm telling you right now, I'm going to be terrible at stand-up comedy. But if you give me enough time, promise you, man, I'm going to be damn good. I'm going to be damn good. And hopefully you'll be here for that too. Do you like my story? Hopefully you guys like my story. If you didn't, that's fine. Somebody out there will. Hi. Today has been fun. I'm actually enjoying this. I'm actually enjoying this. This is a good life. Usually, I turn off my Wi-Fi before doing this live, so I hope that the video wasn't blurry or anything like that. Because usually the Wi-Fi here isn't as good. I hope it wasn't too bad. That's okay though. The good thing is that I haven't had any connection problems. Like it hasn't said reconnecting or it hasn't chipped out. So if the video went blurry, it's because of the Wi-Fi. But we haven't disconnected. So that's good at least. So there you go. My hair is sticking up. I like your personality. Thank you, dude. Thank you. Um, I would say my personality is a combination of my mind and my values. So that's one of the highest compliments that you can give to me. It's the thing I've worked on the most, right? My mind and my values. And that makes up who I am. So I do entertain myself. Let me tell you, let me tell you why that's funny. The reason that makes me laugh is because obviously I'm a solo traveler, right? I travel around the world. Hey, that's a friend of mine. Let me zoom in. That guy right there, he's going to the gym. Yeah, he's a good dude. Uh, if he sees this live, then you can tell him that I said that he's a good dude. Okay. um, what was I saying? I'm a solo traveler. So then, if you're a solo traveler, you have to entertain yourself quite often because you're often by yourself. You're often talking to yourself. In fact, as a solo traveler, it's actually quite common for me to go an entire day and not talk to anybody, not to say a single word. I can be in the house all day. Just imagine, I'm by myself. I have an Airbnb. I wake up. I go to the gym in the apartment complex. I have my AirPods in. I get lunch. I order pizza, and I come back home, and I haven't spoken a word. I haven't spoken a word. I've thought. I've maybe wrote some stuff down. I've been on my phone. Maybe I published a couple of pieces of content. But if I haven't gone live like this, I haven't actually said anything. And I would realize that at like 7 p.m. in the afternoon, in the night. Think about that. That's actually pretty scary. So then, yeah, I don't think many people are prepared for that kind of introversion to get lost in your own thoughts. It can be a scary place to be if you don't like yourself. The good thing is I do love myself. And so I'm actually quite funny. My mind is actually quite funny. And I love being my own company. But I never get bored. Quite funny. One of my favorite things to do is to go on a hike by myself with my AirPods in with R&B music. Oh, I could think myself for days just doing that because walking is one of those things that your brain is active, but it's like on autopilot. So then, as I'm walking, I'm just getting so many thoughts, and then I write down the thoughts on my phone, and I love it. I'm not thinking about anything. I'm just letting my brain go wild. Oh, I love it, dude. All right, people, we've been live for an hour. Actually, this is the second time I've ever been live for over an hour. Um, the last time too, it was like in the middle of the week, like on a Tuesday and a Wednesday. I was actually pretty good. So maybe I should do this more often, right? I mean, I'm gonna keep going live. I'm gonna go live tomorrow as well. Not sure how long it's gonna be, but every time that you guys come and you guys give me energy, then I stay and I give you back energy. But I'm gonna post a couple of clips from this. I know that we talked about. A lot of good things on this live. This is what I like. I like the energy, and I like when you pull questions out to me, so then I get to give you guys energy, and I'm locked in, and then we're going back and forth. I love all that, man. But I'm gonna get off live. I have a date later. We're going for wine on the rooftop. We're going to overlook the city. It's going to be great. It's going to be very romantic. And so I'm going to go and prepare for that. I'm going to go to the pool. I'm going to do that kind of things and get on the rest of my day. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great day. Stay positive. Keep working on your plan.